Breakfast composition adds yet another hilarious twist to the autophagy paradox. Autophagy loves mornings when you've been fasting overnight. It's the ultimate tidy-up crew, sweeping out damaged proteins, recycling worn mitochondria, and generally making your cells feel like they've just visited a five-star spa. But the second you introduce food, especially one that spikes insulin, the process grinds to a polite pause. And here's where breakfast composition matters. Not all breakfasts are created equal. A sugary, high-carb meal, think donuts, pastries, or sweetened cereals, is like throwing a confetti party in the middle of your janitor's shift. Insulin surges, autophagy waves its broom in defeat, and your cells are forced to stop cleaning while they figure out what to do with all the incoming sugar. In contrast, a high-protein, moderate, or low-carb breakfast behaves more like a courteous guest. It provides fuel without shouting over the cellular cleaning crew, delaying but not entirely suppressing autophagy. From a scientific perspective, this makes perfect sense. Insulin is the signal that says, resources are abundant, pause recycling, start growth and storage. Protein and fat, however, induce a smaller insulin response than pure carbohydrates. Eggs, Greek yogurt, or a nut-based smoothie give your body the amino acids it needs for muscles and satiety without sending autophagy into immediate lockdown. Fat and protein also stimulate glucagon slightly, which subtly nudges AMPK and metabolic flexibility in your favor. In other words, you can enjoy a reasonable breakfast without completely canceling the spa day your mitochondria had planned. The humor is irresistible when you imagine the scenario. Autophagy, broom in hand, is just starting to tackle last night's cellular mess when a sugary muffin arrives with a tiny marching band and confetti cannons. Not again, mutters autophagy, stepping aside in exasperation. Now imagine a plate of eggs quietly sliding in instead, nodding politely. We're here for nourishment, not disruption. Autophagy sighs in relief, knowing it will be able to resume its duties sooner. In this little internal drama, breakfast composition determines whether your cells feel like they're hosting a wild party or enjoying a well-behaved visitor. Interestingly, research supports this playful narrative. High-carb breakfasts spike blood glucose and insulin, quickly suppressing autophagy and promoting storage. Protein-rich, low-carb meals slow the rise of insulin, provide essential nutrients, and extend the window before autophagy must pause. Some studies even suggest that combining moderate protein with some healthy fat can support muscle synthesis while keeping autophagy in a sort of standby mode, rather than a full shutdown. It's a metabolic compromise. You get the cognitive and muscle benefits of breakfast without completely sidelining cellular repair. The practical implication is that breakfast doesn't have to be the villain in the autophagy story. It can be a nuanced ally. A carefully composed meal can fuel your brain, support your muscles, stabilize energy, and still respect the autophagy janitors enough to let them return to work relatively soon. This is particularly relevant for people who need early energy for workouts, mental tasks, or even just getting through the morning without muttering incoherently. By prioritizing protein, moderating carbs, and adding healthy fats, you effectively say to your cells, eat, yes, but don't quit your shift entirely. The paradox is still there, of course. Fasting promotes autophagy, breakfast promotes insulin, and the two have a subtle dance of timing and composition. But breakfast composition introduces an element of strategy, humor, and control. Your cells get to enjoy the occasional polite guest rather than a chaotic parade of sugar and flour. Meanwhile, you get to enjoy your morning meal without feeling like you've sabotaged your longevity. Autophagy can still have its cleaning shift. Protein and fats keep your metabolism humming, and sugary treats are saved for moments when you're willing to put cellular housekeeping on hold. In other words, breakfast can be both a friend and a mild interrupter. The real comedy lies in imagining autophagy with a tiny clipboard, assessing the nutritional composition of every morsel you eat, and deciding whether to continue sweeping or take a tea break. High-protein, low-carb meals are the polite visitors. Sugary breakfasts are the confetti-wielding party crashers. Both bring benefits, energy, satisfaction, and nourishment, but the former lets your cells resume work faster. It's a funny, elegant compromise in the eternal tug-of-war between morning fuel and cellular repair.